Welcome everyone once again back to the Really Good Podcast. Today we have the Col de la Loze, but the only one who lost was the people who watched the stage.
I mean, it's a terrible day for anybody. I feel sorry for anyone who got to watch the whole stage, or who had to watch the whole stage.
Yeah, who
live
would do
on
that?
Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I accidentally muted up for about 10 minutes. And to be honest, that was probably the most exciting part for me of the whole stage.
No.
But it was a good one on paper, but it didn't deliver. Col de la Loze, 172 kilometers, started in Vif, and instantly it was Lidl Trek that elongated the rollout from 5 kilometers to 28.5 kilometers, because they just rolled in casually to the intermediate sprint, made sure to control any attacks. There were none. And there was a collective response from the peloton that Tim Merlier should win the green jersey, because Merlier was allowed to take maximum points at the intermediate sprint, fairly uncontested from Podium and onto Turgis. You can literally just play any of our podcasts from the last week, and that's how they usually begin. Yeah. Meanwhile, after that point, you had Tim Wellens with an attack, and Wout Van Aert tried to follow it with a couple of riders, Alexei Lutsenko, among others. King Groves too, actually. I don't know what he was doing in that group. But Van Aert was dropped early on, and I instantly thought, ooh, 1-0 UAE Team Emirates. Van Aert made his way back to the peloton, and eventually, later on, you had a breakaway form, and it was a pretty damn good breakaway. Primož Roglic and Felix Gall were the two big names. Two big GC guys who seemingly were allowed up the road by Picnic Postinel, who I just don't think have the team to control this sort of a stage, so they've left it to UAE Team Emirates.
That was, I don't want to get too far to myself, but a really impressive ride by Team Postinel, I would say, for this stage.
Yeah, they seem to get it tactically correct today, but they left it to UAE to start off with, and the gap started growing and growing and growing, and I thought, ooh, Primož Roglic is on for a podium here, and Felix Gall is on to fly up the general classification. A couple of withdrawals to speak of before the stage began. Carlos Rodriguez of Ineos Grenadiers had to withdraw, did not start because of a broken pelvis. We mentioned that he was on the floor twice on yesterday's stage, and he perhaps would not start. He did not start today's stage. So that's him out of the top 10. That's Jordan Jega into the top 10, entering the day of racing. And Cyril Barth was the other guy. He was caught up in the Alexis Reynard Pavel Bittner incident at 1 kilometre to go. He was the worst off there and had to abandon because of his injuries. And then Enric Mas stepped off the bike to become the final abandon of the day for Movistar. So that is their team leader coming away from the Tour with a best stage result of, I mean, something not very good, really. It's 7th place on Mont Ventoux. Not an ideal Tour for Enric Mas. After a good start, he was up there in the first week.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's like watching Benji Nason control Movistar, man. It ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. You don't do well. What?
But somebody else that Benji Nason may have been controlling, dehydration was the key to victory. And in that case, it was Lenny Martinez, who went to the back on the first climb of the day, the Col du Landon, to get a bottle from the Bahrain Victorious team car. And for some weird reason, the Bahrain Victorious team director did not hand over the bottle and just let Lenny Martinez not have his water. That was obviously a tactical move. Lenny Martinez tried his best to act, but the commissaires got involved and docked him some King of the Mountains points. So despite going over the top of the Col du Landon in first position and taking what he thought was 20 points, Lenny Martinez got a big slap on the wrists with King of the Mountains and lost 8 points for the intervention with the team car. So, big sticky bottle from Bahrain Victorious meant a sticky situation for Lenny Martinez over the top of the first climb. Aronsman was in the breakaway as well for King of the Mountains, and he was the only rider to really bother Lenny Martinez, but everybody went down the descent. And Jorgensen and Aronsman attacked the descent hard and got themselves a brief gap before the start of the second climb.
Hell yeah. I saw the incident with Lenny Martinez, and it, like, everybody that does it, but come on. I think it was like 3 times, and he was really holding on to that bottle, and he didn't even get the bottle in the end. Like, brother, please. At that point, let it go.
Yeah, I think the whole not holding onto the bottle once was fine. But then doing it straight after collecting 2 sticky bottles and a gel was, a little bit too close to the line, I think, from Bahrain Victorious. I think they would have got away with it if it was just 1, but 3
wouldn't
in
have gotten
such
away
quick
with it
succession.
if it wasn't for the cameraman.
Get rid of all cameramen at the Tour de
Yeah,
France.
get rid of
just
them.
have no race. We just get the results through at the end, and we have to talk about it and wonder how it happened.
Cool. Yeah, that would be interesting. You could guess how it happened. Oh.
And there was a lot of guessing games done in the peloton on Col de la Madeleine because the gap wasn't large to the breakaway, but it was gradually kept getting prized open because Nils Pollitt was on the front, did a big turn at the start of the day, and then handed over to the rest of the team midway through the Madeleine. But we saw the first move from Visma Lease Bike taking over from UAE Team Emirates on the Madeleine, and Vingegaard attacking with over 70 kilometers to go.
It's what we've been praying for, man. I saw and I was like, yes, we have a race. It's alive. It's alive. Go on, Colin de la Loze was alive for like a couple of kilometers. He caught up to Jorgensen, who said somewhat of a pace, I guess, over the Madeleine, but nothing to really trouble Tadej here at all. They had like a decent position, I think, going over the top, especially considering they could control the pace downhill. And I think Jonas got like a bottle of. We had Jakob Fuglsang on as a commentator for today's stage, which is really cool. And he also mentioned something on the lines of that it's possible that it was tactical from Visma to have them be isolated at the top, and then they had Jonas got a bottle very close to the top, which most likely had a lot of carbohydrates and stuff like that in it, and they would try and basically both make sure that they beat Tadej in terms of hydration, but also in terms of food. So they wouldn't allow him to get as much food because also he has no teammates who could help him get it, and they of course control the pace, so they know when they can take food real quick and then move on. But he came and got a lot of good insight, Fuglsang, though. I don't remember all of it, but I can try and see if I can recall some of it.
Yeah, it sounds like a more detailed description of what David Miller said on British comms, which was when they started pushing the descent, that was like a tactical move to make Pogacar focus on his lines rather than his feeding. And how Vingegaard was getting especially close to Jorgensen, but Pogacar was leaving a bit more of a gap to Vingegaard. Yeah. And they were trying to push, I think, to make sure that he got his feeding wrong and didn't take in the suitable nutrition. So yeah, even off the back of the climb, I think going down the descent, they pushed on to see if they could cause any damage. In the end, they didn't. But what about Sepp Kuss setting this one up? Yeah. Because he thinned it to just Jonas Vingegaard and Tadej Pogacar. Massive ride from him.
I think Sepp Kuss is back on a level. I mean, it is third week Sepp Kuss, who is high up there. But I think he's back on the level he was back when he really pretty much helped Jonas win the yellow jersey. And also when he won the... well, I guess that's last year. Wait, was it last year he won the... Vuelta?
No, the year before.
Yeah, right. I think he's back to that level, which is really nice to see because my guy can ride up mountains.
Indeed so. And Florian Lipovitz tried to follow, but in the end was put on a gap, and that might have cost him in the general classification, which we will get to, because at the foot of the descent, at the end of the descent, there was about like 3 minutes, I think, between the lead of the race and Osteronli's group, with Lipovic sort of at 40 seconds behind on his own. And I thought, oh, Jorgensen's just going to pace this one to the foot of the climb, and then Vingegaard's going to go with, like, literally at the foot of Col de la Loze, which would have been cinema. In the end, there was an attack from O'Connor, and Rubio followed, and then Jorgensen followed. And to be honest, I couldn't follow with my head what was going on.
No. I'm confused. They were trying to overthink it. And they're like, no, we gotta get him up there so Jonas can attack up to him and blah, blah, blah. What's the point if he's not getting used? What's the point? Because, I mean, we saw him. He was dead as soon as they caught up to him anyways. He's unusable. I don't... Like, they were discussing, I think Fuglsang was discussing they were going for a stage 1, maybe, potentially, with Jorgensen. But I don't see it. I just don't see the point, honestly.
Yeah, it felt like he paced himself to the top, so he was, like, all out, and then was going to save himself or, like, recover as much as he possibly could in the descent, and then just use what energy he had left from the descent to pace the valley. That was what I was imagining. And then he went in the breakaway, which kind of scuppered the whole idea of it. But all of a sudden, everybody was looking at each other, and Lipovic got back and went, do you know what? See you later, lads. I'll leave you all to look at each other. And initially, I thought this was a good move, because he gained a lot of time very quickly.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was accounting for them going that slowly and Jorgensen being in the break, because the Only group came past in a flash. Now you can talk about Picnic Postenel's teamwork.
Oh, the teamwork. Like, I guess they've just been pacing all the way down the descent on the flat part as well, and they caught up very fast. You saw as soon as they caught up to the Vingegaard group, they just flew past. Like, Jonas looked to the side, I was like, oh Jesus, there's a train. They came with so much speed, and to get Only back in the position that he ended up being in, what a huge props. My God, I think they played it tactically perfectly. I don't think Only was meant to try and follow Tadej and Vingegaard. I think this was probably the plan all the time for this sort of thing. Which, if it was, props. Props.
So from what he said to British media after the stage, it was the plan. But he said, they said something about, oh, you really kept your cool today. And he was like, yeah, I'm not sure whether I kept my cool, which kind of indicates to me that he thought the plan was going badly. But they stuck with it. And I think the initial idea was that they had Bargy in the peloton. So we're going to use Bargy on the rest of the climb once all the rest of the guys had gone up the road. And they had Van den Broek in the breakaway, Frank Van den Broek, who is very good on the flat sections after climbs.
Right.
And he was the guy at the front when they flew past. So they used Van den Broek at the right time by catching him at the bottom of the descent. So they actually really played a blinder, DSM, or Picnic Postenel, should I say, today. Even though Only didn't think that midway through the stage.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that if you're Only and you're like, guys, they have 3 minutes. We're doing anything?
Hello? Lipovic has just gone like 2 minutes and a half up the road. Hello? Anybody? Podium? No?
Anyone? But to be fair, I think the amount of stamina, the amount of blue stamina Lipovic spent at the descent and on the flat part, that's what cooked them in the end. And Only just being able to sit back, it's still a mountain stage, for most of it, that gave him such a big advantage across everyone, I guess.
And another confusion for me with the Jonas Vingegaard story is why was he following Felix Gall's move and didn't follow Lipovic's? Surely he just leaves them all to it.
I don't know.
Because with the Lipovic's move, Pogacar's going to look at you to bring it back because he's third on GC and you're second on GC. So you're going to have to ride. With Gall, it was like, well, you might as well let him go. Stop with the persistent accelerations. And Roglic was going to bring him back anyway. We saw Gall attack twice. And first one, Vingegaard followed his move. And then the second one, Roglic brought him back. So clearly, Primož Roglic was interested in that top 5 on GC. And I'm not sure whether Vingegaard got too excited, having got to the bottom of the descent with Jorgensen and realised that it was just him and Jorgensen who next Pogacar. But it just feels like he made a couple of blunders today.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like the only thing I could think of is that he wanted to use Felix Gal's acceleration to accelerate himself, but he didn't continue afterwards, which sort of defeated that purpose. If that was what he was trying to do. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure he's aware what he was doing at that point.
I did like Gal's interview after the stage though, where he was like, "Am I part of the big three now if they're following me?"
You are, Felix. Come on, you are. Come on.
But yeah, he was like, I'm not sure why. Maybe they think I'm a threat, and if so, thank you very much. But like, I'm not.
But like, come on.
But no, you got to the foot of the climb. Picnic Postinel hit the foot for Oscar Onley and then handed over to UAE Team Emirates. And it was this ongoing battle between UAE and Visma. It started off with UAE, then Visma took over, and then they kind of ran out of steam, Visma Lisa bike.
Yep. Ran out of steam, ran out of riders, ran out of everything. And I'll be honest, I was almost falling asleep at this point because I was like, so much just led up to it, and this happened, and it didn't seem like Jonas wanted to attack at this point because there was a flat, well, not flat, but like not a steep section coming up where going by yourself, you'll need to use a lot more energy. So they sort of reached the point where the only way he could escape was on the very, very like final kilometers. At that point, he's not going to gain much time. That is Pogacar territory. So, yeah, they ran out of everything, ran out of options. They were looking so good to begin with. And then at the end, they have absolutely nothing to show for it.
Yeah, in the end, Narvaez and Adam Yates did the Oscar Onley tactic of sticking with their group. And the reason it took so long to bring back, apparently, was because Onley was looking at those guys to pace to get back to Pogacar. And those guys were looking at Onley, and Onley was like, nah, I'm not doing it. But they eventually got back, and I wonder whether like not going hard on that climb increased the chances, because Adam Yates was superb on this final mountain for Tadej Pogacar and setting him up. But it was Jonas Vingegaard that tried one last daring move because Jorgensen had been dropped by this point and could not give him anything.
Yeah, I'm happy he did end up trying, but the inevitable counter came as well. And he held on the first little while, and then he had trouble at the end. It's just the story of this year's tour. Pogacar attacks at the end, ends up dropping Jonas by a few seconds and beats him.
Yep, another win for Tadej Pogacar over Jonas Vingegaard. But we haven't even discussed the stage winner. We've not said his name once throughout the whole day.
And we never will.
Away at the front of the race was Ben O'Connor and Aina Rubio throughout all of this. They took about 4 minutes on the yellow jersey group at the foot of Col de la Loze. Yep. And it was 3 minutes for like a good 2/3 of this climb. Easy for Ben O'Connor, who attacked away from Aina Rubio. Rubio just didn't have it today. And O'Connor, what a ride to take the stage win on such a mythical day of racing. In the end, he's the only one that can come away, I think, with his head held properly high.
For sure. That was a really good ride. I haven't seen him too much throughout the tour. Maybe I'm just blind. I don't know. But that was an insane ride. I've already had one guy say that we should give an apology for the rating we gave him in the ratings video, a certain someone. But no, the ride itself was, man, to hold off that group of riders, crazy.
Yeah, it reminded me of the stage he won a couple of years ago in like 2021, I think it was, to Tignes, where he was in a breakaway and it was similar conditions, and Tignes another like 20-kilometer climb. In fact, the stage profile is super similar looking back at it to today's stage. So he kind of thrives on this sort of mountainous, slightly wet, cold day with long mountains on the profile. So O'Connor wins it by 1 minute and 45 seconds. He had more than enough time to soak it all in. To Tadej Pogacar, Jonas Vingegaard loses 9 seconds plus any bonus seconds, which is only 2 seconds in this case, to Tadej Pogacar, with Oscar Onley fourth, following the attacks of both Pogacar and Jonas.
Jesus, man. I think the fact that he knew that, the fact they didn't spend as much of his energy early on probably gave him that extra bit at the end. But even so, that is so impressive, and I'm extremely impressed.
Yeah, I am, as a Brit, it's quite hard to root for someone like Chris Froome because they are quite boring in their riding style. Only I still think could do with a bit of improvement, but he's on Picnic Postinel, so he's kind of got an excuse.
Yeah, that's
and I think if there's no big teams knocking at his door, because I believe he's got a contract with Picnic Postinel for the next couple of years. But if there's no big teams just going, hey, do you want a little summer of Visma Lisa bike, if there's no big teams knocking at his door, I will be very surprised, because this is a massive Tour de France from Oscar Onley. And, I mean, as a reminder, he is in the white jersey competition, but he is only 22. So he has got a lot of improving that he can do. And I don't really want to overhype, because I hate when British media overhype someone. So I think he'd be very privileged to take a top 3. Do I think he's anywhere near the level of Pogacar and Vingegaard? Absolutely not.
But next year.
Yeah. Do I think he could win a Grand Tour soon? Not really. Do I think he could podium like he did or may do on this Tour de France? Yeah, why not?
I see him next year beating Tadej.
He's
out there 2 minutes away. I'm calling it now.
But no, Oscar Onley fourth on the stage, the only other rider within 2 minutes. Rubio finished on exactly 2 minutes in fifth, with Gal in sixth on 2:25. Gaining a little bit of time on Primoz Roglic, 21 seconds to be precise. Tobias Harlan Johannesson, after his stomach problems on the Ventoux stage, finishes ninth behind Adam Yates on 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Not a bad ride from him, because he distanced Florian Lipovitz by, 28 seconds?
Yeah, something like that. And we also see Kuss in 10th. After all this, not finishing that far behind Vingegaard and Pogacar, actually. Which I guess still speaks to the fact that they're going for the team classification to a degree, which they're still leading, but not by a whole lot. But the fact that he didn't just, slow down and take a chill pill the rest of the day, I think that kind of shows.
Yeah. Other 3 names: Vauquelin, 4 minutes 34, down in 12th. Ben Healy, 9 minutes and 28 seconds, down in 17th. I think he's proving here that he's not a GC guy, which is good, because I enjoy him most when he goes for stage wins. And Jordan Jaeger, the dream may just be dwindling a little bit for the Total Energy man, who tried to get in the break but ultimately failed at 11 minutes and 20 seconds, down on Ben O'Connor, which means that Jegat is out of the top 10, replaced by Ben O'Connor, who moves up into the top 10 at 29 minutes and 90, almost half an hour. Almost half an hour separates the top 10 riders of this Tour de France. Pogacar leads 4 minutes 26 on Jonas Vingegaard. He can't, can he, tomorrow?
No. Maybe if we're lucky, it ends up being a Tadej against Vingegaard, and I have a feeling maybe if it comes down to it, Vingegaard attacks again, Pogacar might give him this one as a win. I'm just saying it might happen.
How unbearable will the Danes be for the next 12 months if Jonas Vingegaard wins the final mountain stage? And it'll be like, he's back, he's beaten Pogacar.
Actually, I don't know, it's the exact opposite. Everyone's just mad. Apparently.
Yeah, actually, I've never asked you about this.
They're mad and disappointed, which is crazy to be mad and disappointed about someone being second in the Tour de France, consistently the second best tour rider in the world. Because a few years back, we had Fuglsang who would finish 7th, and that would be huge. A few years back, and now we're mad over someone finishing second consistently and winning 2, it's just insanity. That's actually something that's happening at this point, but I'm still proud of him, but, of course, it sucks that he can't beat him. But Yeah, even if he wins tomorrow, I think it'll be the same. People are going to be like, oh yeah, he's doped. Pogacar's on, he's on it. He's on it. Vingegaard can win. That's pretty much all you hear at this point, which kind of sucks, but yeah.
Are there any comments about like his team or how his team have done, or is it just kind of more about him?
It's mostly about him. Well, I mean, the professionals, the like actual cyclists, like the analysts, all that, they speak about the team a lot as well. Question stuff like, it was last stage, right, where he had to fend himself back to the peloton after he got caught behind the crash.
Yeah.
Where they were questioning that a lot and questioning, the tactics and stuff like that. But the average or like the common cyclist fan who mostly just watched the Tour in Denmark, it's only about Jonas at that point. So, yeah.
So that is the battle for the top. Those two guys are extremely clear. The battle for the podium, though. Oh. I am seated and I am ready because Florian Lipovitz leads the way in third, 22 seconds ahead of Oscar Onley. Roglic is 1 minute and 48 seconds down. I think Roglic still could do it on a good day. I think him being in the breakaway and being the best of the breakaway guys, bar Gal, who is he's too far back now for me with one mountain stage remaining and Paris, which kind of I still don't know how that goes. But I think it's between Lipovitz, Onley and Roglic now, and I think Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe have to make a decision soon because Oscar Onley is waltzing into this third place as things stand.
Yes, they're trying too much in both ends at this point. Roglic could have gotten back and helped Lipovitz here, lost a lot less time. Certain something gonna happen, and however, I don't think they'll allow. Well, team picnic Postinel will allow Roglic in the breakaway tomorrow at least.
I mean, there was a crazy situation early on in the stage where you had a group of like 50 riders off the front that included Onley, Lipovitz, Roglic, Vauquelin, Johannesson, Healy, literally all of the top 10 pretty much, bar Pogacar and Jonas Vingegaard. And I was like, if they allow this away, this is going to be mental.
I bet that happens tomorrow, man.
Yeah, Visma Leagues have chased it down annoyingly. But Gal in 6th probably can't get a top 5 at this point because he's just too far away from Roglic, almost for 3 minutes, should I say, behind Primož Roglic. Vauquelin looks calm in 7th place right now. Johannesson looks fine in 8th. Healy 9th and O'Connor 10th. All of those guys I doubt are going to move anywhere on the La Plana stage. And unlucky Jordan Jagas top 10 hopes. He sits in 11th overall. Points classification. Is it Milan's?
It's gotta be. At this point, it's gotta be.
He has stopped believing.
It's happening. It's happening. Milan's taking it home. It's coming home, and he's coming back into the team on the final stage. And he actually might even tomorrow. I might even buy him back for tomorrow. A quick two more stage loan. Don't believe. Just have faith. Have faith. Have faith.
I mean, you look at the green jersey winners in the past. Pogacar would have stuck out like a sore thumb, definitely, in this classification. But would you argue he is... This sounds a bit harsh on Milan, but would you argue that Pogacar is a more deserving winner than Milan?
No. I feel like the green jersey is for the sprinter, so I prefer it being an actual sprinter. I think if Pogacar won it, it'll be a bit like, not the greatest look. I feel like on the Tour as well, just even for like a common viewer's point of view. So I prefer Milan winning it.
Yeah. I mean, if you look back at the old winners, for me, you either find a sprinter who was super dominant or a sprinter who really tried hard to get over the mountains and win difficult intermediate sprints. For me, Milan's been neither of those two things. So last year, obviously, Girmay took 4 stage wins and the green jersey. Jasper Philipsen was dominant in 2023. Van Aert won it in 2022, who is a sprinter that can get over climbs. Cavendish in 2021 dominated the flat stages. Bennett in 2020 dominated the flat stages. And it feels like Milan, every time he's faced off against Merlier, he's lost, to put it nicely. And every time he's been asked to go over a climb that the peloton are pacing hard on, he gets dropped. And I feel like it's not a fantastic look for Milan to win it and not Merlier, because I don't think Milan's the best sprinter at this race.
Yeah.
But it would be a worse look, I think, if Pogacar took mountains, yellow and green.
Yeah, I agree.
Because in the mountains classification, Pogacar leads the way by 16 points on Jonas Vingegaard, who moves up to second place. Lenny Martinez, thanks to one bottle, has bottled it in the King of the Mountains classification. Fair play, he got to wear the jersey for most of the Tour, but the hope is gone now for Lenny Martinez, I think.
It's gone. It's over. He's taking that home. He's taking it home.
And in the white jersey, Lipovic versus Onley. This is the only jersey I'm interested in now. Lipovic 22 seconds on Oscar Onley. We discussed it briefly for the podium. I think I see Onley in white.
Yeah, I do want to see it, but I do want to keep to my Tour de France, prediction of Lipovic on third and in white. So for that reason, I'm going to root for Lipovic. Purely that reason.
Yeah, it's probably a good decision. I should root for Lipovic because he's in my fantasy team, but I'm looking at it and I'm wondering whether I get rid of him for Oscar Onley.
Ooh, I mean, I had him early on, Oscar Onley, I think, right? But I had to sell him for Pogacar, which I mean,
I think that's a fair trade. Yeah,
yeah, a little bit, but it might be time to switch Lipovic for Onley as well. I'm thinking about the same thing, but I don't want to do it. No, I'm sticking to my guts. Nope.
So, how did your fantasy team perform today then? If you're sticking to your guns,
it's no real great breakaway right aside from Lenny Martinez. Fred Wright did nothing. Castillo did nothing. Johansson did nothing, and Rickard did nothing. So we have left Lenny Martinez 74 points for the breakaway in the Pogacar jersey, sort of. Vingegaard, the stage winner bonus 453, not bad. Pogacar 315. And then Lipovic with 112, which is all gonna accumulate to 965, which is not a bad score. I'll take it, I think, honestly.
Well, yeah, I think me and you are now in a super interesting situation because you went Vingegaard stage winner bonus. I also went Vingegaard stage winner bonus. Ooh. So it means that Vingegaard, Pogacar, Lipovic and Martinez all scored the same amount for us. And it now means that it's our four quote-unquote bad riders that are just scrapping for minor points. So Johansson for me got 7, Paris-Pancher got 11, Verstringer got 9, and Velasco got 6 for 987 on the day. So I just about scrape ahead of you on the day classification. I think you still hammer me in the overall.
I'm 17th.
I'm 50th, man. I'm sitting comfortably mid-table.
Ayo, I mean, I could probably scrape like a top 10 here if I play it well. Maybe a top 3 if I'm really lucky, but I don't really know. I'm rooting for a top 10. I'll be able to get that back. Yeah.
Intriguing indeed, which wasn't how I described this stage. Well, it was on occasions, but certainly not the final. How would you rate this stage on a scale of 1 to 10?
6.5, 7, 6.5, 6.5.
I'd go 6.5 to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, the journey was better than the results, I think. The pre-Col de la Loze was better than the Col de la Loze in the end.
Yeah.
And probably proof that the Col de la Madeleine should be on the Tour more often. Or it's proof that it's a mainstay of the Tour de France. Because it does deliver drama. But the Col de la Loze didn't on this occasion, I'm afraid, which I guess crunches it down to a 6.5. It had potential to be a serious win of a stage, but perhaps that's tomorrow, stage 19.
Yeah.
Albertville to La Plagne, 130 kilometers rather than the 170 of yesterday's stage. So it's shorter, but it's sharper, and it looks very similar. We've got multiple climbs on the route, 5 to be exact, starting with a category 2. Then the Category 1 Col d'Assez. You'd think on the Category 2 the breakaway would form, but the Col d'Assez, 13.8 kilometres, 6.4%, with a big flat section in the middle. So it's kind of a fake news climb. The Col du Pré up next, right at the end of the descent. Or Category 12.6 kilometres, 7.8%, but the last 7 or so kilometres are at 9% average. Then, brief descent, tiny valley, Cormet de Roseland, 5.8 kilometres, 6.5%, super long descent, 10 or so kilometre valley, and then La Plagne, 19.3 kilometres, 7.2%, or category label. We go through a place just before we get to La Plagne called Prairiond, which I haven't done the maths on it. Looks a bit like paranoid. Is Tadej Pogacar paranoid of this stage?
Oh, he might be. This looks very interesting on paper, to be honest. And if it follows the same way that my Danish Tour de France series went, then Pogacar and Vingegaard will be alone over the first Category 1 climb. And be riding just those two pretty much all the way to the finish line. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen exactly, but we can pray. Please. But yeah, I see a lot of potential for breakaway tactics with Visma. I don't think Visma are gonna go for the yellow jersey here. Realistically speaking, I feel like they realized it doesn't work. I'm assuming they're gonna try and get a stage win with either, well, maybe Sepp Kuss, honestly, since he's looking so good, and put him up there, and then just have Jorgensen and Yates back to help Vingegaard, or maybe someone else, who knows. But yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be a battle for third and the white jersey, and then a battle for the stage win, which we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, I will add in the fact that Lidl Trek will not do a 23.5 kilometre start of the stage. They will in fact control for just 8 kilometres to get to the intermediate sprint. Milan will win that with Girmay and Turgis in the wheel, but not challenging. And then the stage can begin after the intermediate sprint. That's the proper start of the stage, guys. Yep. And then off they head on the Côte d'Henri-sur-Eugène, the first climb of the day. So I can't wait for this one. I think we'll have a better breakaway formation, and a more competitive breakaway formation. And I think it's another day for the breakaway it could be, because Pogacar doesn't seem to have it in previous stages. He used to be so cannibalistic with the stage wins. He's kind of toned it down a little bit. Is that sort of him focusing on Jonas Vingegaard on the GC, or is it him showing some weakness?
I'm not sure. It might be a mix of both. Because I feel like if he could, I feel like he would really win those stages, at least Col de Loze, because he's mentioned before that he wants to write new history on all the climbs that Jonas has beat him on. Col de Loze is one of them. I guess he did write new history, but he didn't exactly, do it by huge margins. So I think it's to a degree, a small degree, a sign of a little bit of potential, maybe weakness. But I think that's about it. Yeah,
I think the cracks are only tiny, and Jonas Vingegaard doesn't have a big hammer to hit them with at the moment. So, yeah, I don't really see it happening. But that is pretty much everything I can predict for stage 19.
Stage winner.
Control. Stage winner.
Yes.
I went with Pogacar pre-pod.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Pogacar still.
I'm saying Sepp Kuss from the breakaway.
I like
After
that
seeing him
shout.
today, I would love to see that happen. But that is tomorrow. Hopefully you enjoyed today's podcast. Of course, don't forget to leave a like if you did, and subscribe, and give us 5 stars. You all know by now. And we'll see you all tomorrow with the final mountain stage of this year's Tour de France. Take care.